Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Waller's Wallet, and I'm coming to you live from Tampa, Florida, or just outside of Tampa. And today, I wanted to go over. I've had some questions on how I booked my trip because if you've been following me on Instagram, you'll know that I booked this trip currently for less than $200 out of pocket. So I want to go over how I booked this trip, how you can even possibly replicate booking this as well. So let me get into it as well. Most importantly though, I do want you to ask questions. I want to answer your questions, kind of like a Q&A kind of form as well. So let me first start off with my flights. So with my flights, we flew Delta on the way down. Now the reason why I chose Delta was it had more options for what I needed for flights. So the way I booked it for 26,000 Delta miles and $11.20 per person on the way down. Now, I spent a couple thousand more miles to get us in a little bit earlier. One, because our son is kind of his witching hour, if you will, is later in the evening. So getting us in at 2 o'clock was a better option than 11 p.m. But also, Delta had, across the whole spectrum of airlines, the computer shut down for a couple of hours yesterday. So it did delay us coming out of Bangor, going to New York, and that kind of really slowed down the rest of the process from Bangor or from LaGuardia over to Tampa. We got in yesterday about 5 o'clock, a relatively easy flight. Our little guy handled the flight really well, which is awesome for us. And as far as adding a lap child or an infant lap child for us, once I booked my flights, I reached out to Delta on Twitter. It was very easy to book a flight or talk to them on Twitter to see, what's going on there? Okay. To let them know what we needed. They completely booked an infant child over Twitter. I didn't have to do a single thing, pick up the phone at all, which was great. So let's talk about the hotel reservations, because if you were following me on Instagram or you saw some of my other things on my Facebook group, you'll notice that I said we're staying here for 5 nights at $0 out of pocket. Now, the way we did that, before SPG merged with Marriott in that complete dumpster fire of what's been going on. Hey Kenneth, how's it going? Before that dumpster fire completely happened, I opened up a Marriott business card to give us enough points to book a flights and nights package, which, if I remember, it was 220,000 Marriott points, gave us about 80,000 or 77,000 United miles, as well as a week certificate at a category 1 through 5. Now, when it adjusted with the new categories, it ended up being a category 1 through 4. So I ended up booking us here at the Town Suite place just outside of Tampa. Now, I could have booked one closer to the beach. Now, the reason why I chose this place was, one, it had free breakfast for everybody involved in the party. It also had free parking. The other option I had did not come with free parking. It was $27 a day for parking, and it did not come with breakfast or a kitchenette. So, I mean, you can look back over here behind me. You can see that there is a kitchen behind us as well. You can also see our son's bottles that we've been washing them. So for us there was more value to me for getting free breakfast as well as free parking. Now, when we did come in here, we also were upgraded to a 2-bedroom suite as opposed to the 1-bedroom standard room for this. So the free night certificate I used, I was actually going to cancel this out, and I was going to just get airline miles. But this here gave us close to $1,200 in value for it. So, and it might be frowned upon by some people how I did this. It's good for a week. We only are staying for 5 days, so I forfeit the last 2 nights of my certificate, which, I'm okay with because I don't really stay at Marriott properties, and I really don't really worry so much about that because this property was 17,500 points per night based on the time I was booking it. For 70,000 points, what the cost was, and save me $1,200, it was worth it even if I have to forfeit those 2 nights. So I'm very happy to do that. So 2-bedroom suite, pretty happy about that. Now I want to tell you about my car rental. So the car rental, I actually rented an Audi Q5 for our car rental, which I was actually pretty excited to use Silver Car for the first time because of the fact I was able to find a coupon code or promo code online for 2 free nights or 2 free rental days when you booked 4 or more days. Since I'm here for 5 days, that qualified me for it. Now, we needed a car seat as well. And when I started looking at other airline or other programs, Orbitz, Avis, any other program, what they required is that they said that they would potentially charge you for it. I reached out to a couple other people I know who travel with kids, and it is possible they would charge me for it. And Silvercar actually does not charge you for a car seat. So for me, that was +1. I was really happy about that. The 2 free rental night days, awesome. +2 for me there. And I get to drive an Audi. I mean, I was pretty excited about that. So how I did that, let's see. So my total cost there for 5 days on the rental was $316. But we're splitting that actually with my mother-in-law, and her sister came down as well. So they're staying with us, or we're all staying here together. So that came out to about $160 for me out of pocket for this car rental. And also what we had done is I booked this on my Altitude Reserve, which is I'm still working on that minimum spend for, and for 2 reasons. One, I get primary auto rental insurance, so that saves me money by being able to reject that from the car rental company. That saves me money. 2, it earned triple points on this booking, as well as the fact I still have my travel credit, which I'll be using for this as well. So really, although I'm still prepaid for this in general, it didn't cost me anything extra out of pocket for this. And if anything, it saved me money by not having to utilize their services for rental insurance. And when I compared the cost of Quicksilver to other rental companies, it was only a couple dollars more per day. So it really wasn't breaking the bank beforehand because of the 2 free nights. Now, if it wasn't getting those 2 free rental days, it would have been way more expensive and not even worth it. What I'll try to do, though, is I'll try to find the promo code that I used. I don't know if it's still active, and I'll put it in the description below. But I do know I did have a question. Someone asked me how Silvercar has been. Now, overall, it's been a pretty good experience with Silvercar. The big hiccup for me was I requested a car seat when I made the reservation. I mean, I pretty much made the reservation, hopped online. Everything was done online with them. It's through the chat. So when I made my reservations through the chat, I said I needed an infant car seat. I mean, little guy can't ride up front yet. So when we got there, they actually didn't have any notes. The person picking us up didn't have any notes that we had a car seat, which caused a problem. So after clearing that up, we got a car seat installed. It was ready to rock and roll. There was no issue after that. I mean, the car is very clean. The car seat is very clean. The car is very smooth. There's not even a scratch on the car. So overall, I've been very happy with Silvercar, and if I can find a deal again in the future, I would absolutely use Silvercar again. And I would actually recommend that for someone who's looking to maybe get themselves maybe a nicer car for their rental, that even if it maybe costs a couple dollars more than the other rentals. But pretty much for the same price as the Jeep Cherokee, I'm driving an Audi Q5, which is by far, I think, a better experience for me. And then as far as things going on with as we're staying here, you know, the hotel's been great. I know I will definitely crap on Marriott for their merger and how terrible it's been, and all the, they'll say, noise around the edges that they've been giving people. But the staff here has been really fantastic. You know, they came in, the person who I made the reservation with, because when you did the flights and nights package, you had to book that over the phone. You could actually not book that online. So I booked it over the phone. They put a note in requesting the room upgrade that we currently have. Now, when I got here, that wasn't in the system. And when I mentioned it, the manager, without even flinching, said, I can make that happen. So the staff here, even when we go down for the breakfast, the staff is super friendly, and I would definitely recommend this property for someone who's coming to the Tampa, Clearwater, St. Petersburg area. And as far as location, it's pretty central for what we need. I mean, we're probably 10 to 15 minutes from the beach. We're 10 to 15 minutes from Tampa, you know, and there's a lot of things to do here. We've done quite a few things, going to a couple preserves. We've seen, you know, even saw a gator today, which I thought was pretty cool to see one outside of captivity. So overall, I mean, it's been a pretty solid trip here, and my total cost for myself, my wife, and our son was $180. So by utilizing our miles, by transferring over a handful over, because I had some miles over in Delta, by transferring those over to Delta, it was better for us because it gave us more flexibility in what we needed for our flights, as well as timing. You know, it beat coming in at 2:30 in the afternoon, beat coming in at 11 p.m. And for 2,000 Delta miles more, it does allow that flexibility. So that's one great thing about Delta miles. I know they don't give you outsized value, but they do give you that certain level of flexibility that if, for example, United didn't have award seating, it would either be blocked off, or the fact that it would cost you, maybe it was 12,500 for Saver, now you're spending 25,000 miles for getting in 6 hours earlier, 5 hours earlier. So utilizing Delta's services and utilizing that dynamic currency, while isn't great to receive outsized value, can definitely be great in helping you utilize the best redemption for yourself in the timing. I see some people online. If you have questions, feel free to ask them. You know, I'm telling you about my trip down here in Tampa, but I do want this to be like a Q&A forum. If you have questions about credit cards, travel, just shoot me a message right now. You know, I'd love to do this in real time with you as well. It's one thing I like doing with all of you is answering your questions in real time. I don't think I have any right now as far as chats. Nope, just from Kenneth. Make sure you go to Columbia Restaurant in Yorb City. I'll have to check that one out, Kenneth. I've gotten a couple good recommendations for restaurants, and so far they've been really good. If you haven't seen me on Instagram, I actually was at Sonic the other day too, which I was pretty excited for. I haven't had that since I was like a kid, so I was pretty excited to have a cherry limeade slushie again. You know, it's not the best thing for me, but it's pretty fantastic, which I'm pretty excited for. So let me fix my camera real fast. Whoops. Let me fix my camera. So no questions as of yet. So you know, as of other things that we're doing, if you're looking to come down, and maybe we're actually going to be going to Busch Gardens tomorrow. So one tip you could have is if you're looking to go to, we'll say, Busch Gardens, you can actually purchase your ticket in advance. If you book it 3 or more days in advance, it takes an extra $10 off. So you can utilize booking in advance for that. And if you have the Ebates Chrome browser extension in, you'll even currently right now earn an extra 2.5% cash back or 2.5 membership reward points, which is a pretty solid deal. At the same time, if you could look out for your American Express offers, Busch Gardens is typically on there, I feel, a couple times a year to stack yourself some money as well. It's not currently on there right now for me, but I am looking to meet my minimum spend, so my altitude reserve is getting quite a bit of use down here, which has been pretty good for myself. So I think that's pretty much what I've booked everything for. Upgrade note. Just looking through my notes real fast. No questions out there. I see 12 of you online, now 11 of you. Any questions out there from people? You know, it's overall, I've had a great experience here in Tampa, or in St. Petersburg. Car rental, great. Delta, great. You know, when you're flying, I mean, there's nothing we could really do as far as the computers crashing. And then when you also want to take into account that it was our son's first time flying, and he was a rock star. Told my wife after our first hour flight that I'm booking trips to Asia later this year, which she was on board for. So later this year, we're probably going to be going to Asia as well. So I'm going to be looking to take advantage of a great transfer bonus from hopefully American Express at some point in time. Hey, Sean, how's it going? I appreciate you being here, man. You have any questions, let me know. You know, as far as, you know, I'm waiting for a good transfer bonus to transfer some points to book. I'm not going to fly. I typically fly coach, but I'm probably not going to want to fly coach going over to Asia. So we're going to be definitely doing business class on that. So I'm hoping like Virgin Atlantic has a transfer bonus, so I can take advantage of that ANA transfer bonus, or ANA for 120,000 from the East Coast business class. From Kenneth, when do I receive my travel credit from the City Prestige? Immediately, or when the statement ends? From everything I've read, Kenneth, it's typically a couple days after, once you make that purchase. So it's not going to be at the end of the statement like when your points post. It's typically a couple days after. So as long as the code is travel, that $250 travel credit should reimburse you. It's no longer an airline credit. So, you know, people using it for Uber, Lyft, airlines, whatever it may be, it'll be reimbursed. And it typically should, from what I've read on it, come a couple days after you were to make that purchase, and it posts to your account. If it doesn't, it's definitely worth reaching out to Citi for that, because Citi's been pretty good about the Prestige and their travel credit. So I would definitely make sure that you're keeping an eye on that. But most people, it's been a non-issue from them that it comes out within a couple days after the transaction post. Same thing with my Altitude Reserve. When I was booking my Delta flights, within 2 days of booking it, I had my $22.60 back in my account from that. And that counts towards your minimum spend as well if you're meeting that minimum spend. Hey, Reckless, what's going on, man? Checking in from Puerto Rico. Hey, thank you for checking in. Fantastic. How's the weather down in Puerto Rico? Because it is fantastic here in Clearwater, Tampa in general. So, but, my Altitude Reserve, that credit has been pretty fantastic. I'm contemplating keeping the card, even if because of the fact we travel enough, getting that travel credit is fantastic. But the travel protections are huge, because if the day we were flying down, when I said the computers crashed on Delta, Southwest, United, the FAA shut down flights for about 45 minutes to an hour to get us here. If that had gone on longer, and let's say my flights were canceled for the day, or if they were greater than 6 hours for that delay, I would have been able to put in with my Visa Infinite card from my Altitude Reserve for reimbursement for that. So I would have been reimbursed for my delay. I think it was up to $500 per person, if I remember correctly, per person. So, we would have cashed in an extra $1,000 and been here later in the evening. But those benefits are worth something to me. So we travel enough to have those benefits and triple points on that. I'm contemplating keeping the card for that reason alone. It's been pretty easy to use the card. U.S. Bank's been great with it. And a couple weeks ago, I did that video on the Chase Ultimate Reward Portal, and where they're actually, on a lot of the cases I had done, were costing you more points for similar flights. And when I did that, I actually have a video I'm working on looking, because someone said do someone for American Express. So I actually expanded that more. So I'm looking at American Express, Expedia, Wells Fargo. I'm going beyond just one of them to kind of see, how are the prices really between different OTAs. And U.S. Bank actually has quite a few options through their service which give a better pricing overall than Chase, American Express, or even some of the other portals. Not all the time, but for some flights I had seen it was substantially lower. So for those benefits there, it might be worth for me to keep the card. We're still in the first couple months of it, but I'm really liking it. It complements my overall scheme of credit cards pretty well. I still see 11 on you. There's warm 80s, that is perfect weather. I would love to have perfect weather 80s year-round in Maine, but that does not happen. So I wish I could have that. I see 12 of you on. Are there any questions right now? All right, no questions. No credit card related questions. There might be, I did that video a couple of weeks ago, or was it last week and a half ago, on the Freedom Unlimited changes coming. Those might be coming in the next couple of days. So if you're on the fence about that, it's definitely worth considering before that offer's gone. I wouldn't be too I would feel comfortable saying in the next couple of days you might be seeing that change. And with the rumors of American Express coming with the green changes in June or July, that could be a fantastic card for people as well, especially if they keep that annual fee in a relatively easy, I think if it's between $120 to $150, people are going to be willing to pay for it if it comes with that Amazon Prime membership. So that would be a fantastic benefit as well. All right, Sean, let's see. With the Hilton Aspire, you get a $250 resort fee. Is that resort fee? No. Is that resort fee specific resorts, or is it like the $300 SPG luxury where you can use it at any Marriott? Any thoughts? It does need to be at a Hilton resort property. So you can't just book it at, let's say, a Hampton Inn. Sorry, like a Hampton Inn and get that benefit. So if you look Hilton Resorts, it does need to be a Hilton Resort property, but that $250 benefit would be there. And if actually going on right now as well is the American Express offer where it's an extra $50 off $250. So you even pocket an extra $50 on that if you were to have that on that card. So, it is for resorts only, not for all of them. I wish they'd open it up. It'd be more valuable to people, including myself, because I don't stay at Hilton Resorts. I'm not going to go out of my way for that. to use that benefit. All right, let's see. Kenneth says, I booked a flight to St. Martin using the Prestige and the 4th night free. That is fantastic, Kenneth. Reckless, I just got something in my throat. It's not going to, I don't know what's going on, but it's something in my throat right now. So, Kenneth, what's really good about that is that you're taking advantage of that 4th night free benefit, which is fantastic. And something I feel like it was mixed things about, and I'm waiting to see how this truly plays out with Citi, because Citi's IT is definitely not the best out there. I'm really waiting to see how that goes, because they're saying that you're going to be limited to 2 times after September. But I'm wondering if their IT department is going to be able to catch that, because if you were to book it through the Citi concierge service right now, where you can do that, it'll take a couple it can take up to a couple statements for that to post. But if you were to book through the Citi travel portal, it would give you that upfront benefit. Now, the trade-off there is the fact you don't get your elite benefits necessarily at all these resorts. Most of the time you should go with no, but occasionally hotels will give them to you. So my question, and we'll have to see this play out, is if you book it up front online through the Citi travel portal and you're willing to forego those benefits, can you lock in the 4th night free more times after September 1st than just that 2-time limit? I think that's to be seen. If you have lots of travel plans, you're going to take advantage of it, I'd take a look at it. I mean, the benefits you could save overall versus your elite benefits might be worth it. So definitely something I would take a look at if you can do that. All right. Vitamin C, don't get sick. Okay. All right. Now there's 13 of you, so it's slowly growing on here. Any questions out there? Any burning credit card questions, travel questions? A couple of trips I have coming up as well. Now I'm just kind of rambling on. Just telling you about my travels coming up. I think next month we're doing a long weekend. We're considering like Nashville or even like DC or Virginia. June, going to go back to New York, I think, for a long weekend. I love New York. That's someplace I could see myself living in at some point in time in my life. In the fall, we're going to go to Europe for about 7 to 10 days. And then after that, we're looking to go to Asia for probably a week to 10 days, just because we want to take full advantage of that travel time. It's going to be a super long flight for us, but and I'm probably being too ambitious. It's our son's first flight. He rocked it like a rock star, and I'm ready to give it a shot to go 15 to 18 hours on a plane to see how he rolls with that. So I'm pretty excited for that. I think he's going to do fantastic. I'm excited to start showing him things and letting him see the world a little bit more. The beaches here were fantastic. Yes, if you book prior to September. Yes, if you were to book it prior to September, it should lock it in. There's mixed messages I've received, and I've asked Citi a couple times. They said it's still going to hold you off, even if you were to wait and book beforehand. They say it's going to limit you. I don't believe that from Citi. I do think that you're still going to be able to get more than twice if you were to book. Today, if you wanted to book for September, October, November, December, a week, and get your 4th night free, I do think it's going to lock in. I don't believe Citi has the IT capable of stopping that for myself. All right, let's see. There was a question. Okay. Let's see. Chris asked, random, but have you seen this offer? Doctor Credit article says Bank of America or cash back. Same in the back end shares. So what they do, Chris, is I have a Bank of America card. I'm actually going to be probably trying to get one on the preferred rewards program to increase my earning rate with them. So I haven't really used my Bank of America card, so I don't get a whole lot of offers from them. But they do utilize the same service. So everyone knows about American Express offers, and those are kind of like I'll call them the gold standard of offers, where they have some fantastic offers either in points or cash back. So we're going to hold them up here. Chase and Bank of America utilize the same service, and it's usually lower end amounts. Now I feel like they've come a decent way, but they're not on the same level. But you can use both your Bank of America and your Chase card, because even though they're the same company, it's separate cards. So it's not going to it's not like American Express now, where if you lock in your American Express offer onto your gold card, you lose it across the rest of them. You'll get it on them. So if you have that and you have both offers, what I would say do is when you go to checkout, ask them to split the transaction between those two cards, so you can go ahead and take full advantage of that to get the most money back. And depending, yeah, maximum $40. Yeah, so those there. I mean, that's how I would typically do it. Is if you get that 10% on those from those properties. But that's just the back end stuff between them. It's just the same company, kind of like. So theoretically, I could use my cash to book a Hampton Inn and get the 10%, as long as you load the offer onto your card. So you do want to check your Bank of America app, Chris, and you want to see if that offer is there. If it's not there, the answer is no. But if the offer is there on your Chase or on your Bank of America card, absolutely you could do that, and you would get it back as long as it's paid. If you're going to pay for a transaction as well, don't forget to utilize one of the portals. And you'll receive extra rewards on top of that. So you could stack your credit card earning rate with the portal rate, plus the cashback rate, plus the points you'd get from your hotel booking as well. And if you're staying at a Hilton, there always seems to be some sort of promotion going on with Hilton, so you could even earn on top of that as well. So really, by utilizing some of those, you can just stack savings and stack rewards right on top of each other, which is a pretty awesome deal, and something you should definitely do if you're looking to go that route. I thought I had another question pop up. So theoretically, I can get the 10%. Yep, okay, no, that was just a question. Okay, very welcome, Chris. Anytime, man. There's still 12 of you. Come on, give me a question, someone. Let's see. The beach is here. If you haven't been to the Clearwater area, we went to the beach today. Beaches here were fantastic. Water were very clear. Actually, we're able to see dolphins swimming out in the ocean. So it was pretty, like there was 5 to 6 of them just coming up and swimming all around. People were going out to swim with them. They didn't run away. You could see them from the pier, which was pretty fantastic. So Sean asked, how did my son do with the flight? Sean, he was a rock star on this flight. I was a little nervous at first because you always hear about the popping in their ears, and the kids can't, he can't equalize that yet. He slept the whole way from Bangor to LaGuardia, which is only an hour flight. But then from LaGuardia down to Tampa, he slept the entire way, which is a 3-hour flight. Not a single peep from him. Not at all. Like, he was fantastic. I mean, it was far better than what I could have expected from him. And now I feel like he set the bar pretty high. So, hopefully he sticks with that. Also, I think a pretty good tip is if you're traveling with young kids, if you don't do this, because there's always that opportunity, he needs a diaper change. I booked this in the back row on Delta, which their Delta, was it their A320 is what we flew on the way down. The very back row still gets, a standard recline in coach, but you're back by the lavatories in case you needed to get to the restrooms, which we actually needed to give him a diaper change mid-flight, or I think it was early on in the flight. So, and we were right there. We didn't have to bust through a crowd of people. Didn't have to worry about anything. You're right there. So it definitely does make it a little bit easier if you book in that back row. Hey, Anthony, what's going on? What is my view on the City National Bank Visa card? I hear it's good, but it's hard to get. So I think it is a very good card, especially if you're looking at authorized users, because all the authorized users, as far as I know, it hasn't changed over the last couple of days, would get the travel credit or the airline credit as well. So, the airline credit, travel credit, one of the credits as well. So you can really save a lot of money on that card, and it has pretty good earning rates. And I think it was it as Joe? I think it was as Joe flies over on Saverocity. Was talking about if you're someone who's into Disney cruises, because he's big into Disney, it actually gives a pretty good return on that, pretty close to what the Chase Sapphire Reserve is, or slightly better than Chase Sapphire Reserve is for that. So it is difficult because you have to apply in branch, and they could require more paperwork. But from what I've understood, people who go in branch have had mixed results with it, but it's a little bit harder to get. But if you're looking for the card, I would totally say it's worth it. From a premium perspective, the Visa Infinite benefit of that $100 off coach round trip tickets in coach Great benefit. There's no limit to being able to use that. So that card in itself, that's something I wish my Altitude Reserve had, because in the U.S. that's limited to the City National Bank card as well as the Ritz-Carlton card. Great benefits. Ad authorized users, they get the benefits as well as the lounge access. So great card. I think it's not well talked about on the blogs because they don't get commission for it. But I think for a premium card, if you want to just take them as individual cards and not look at the whole ecosystem, I actually kind of like the City National Bank card over the Chase Sapphire Reserve. I know some of you might not agree with me on that, but the Chase Sapphire Reserve is better with the ecosystem. When you look head-to-head with other cards, the Sapphire Reserve just isn't really cutting it anymore compared to other premium credit cards. All right, let's see. Is the City Aspire card... let's see, is Hilton renewed every January or every card year? It's, Kenneth, from my understanding, it's every card member year you would get that. I'll have to double check that, but I believe it's every card member year, so you could utilize that every year that you have the card. But at the Aspire card, I have the Aspire card. I think it's probably the best hotel credit card out there. It's hard. I mean, they give you diamond status, which is fantastic. That comes with better earning rates. I think they treat their diamonds pretty well. Their properties, while maybe it's more dynamic in its currency pricing, their properties are pretty nice. The big bonus on the card, I'm actually working on a video talking, I think, about the Aspire card, as well as a couple other, I think, also working on is a video on hotel point values. I've gotten a couple questions on point values and, what do I value them at, but I really wanted to give more of an objective approach for that, so you'll see more of a breakdown how I came up with certain point values, not just out of thin air of what I feel they are worth, because I think a lot of people overvalue points because they look at it from, well, I received 12 cents per point 2 years ago, so that means my points are worth 3.5 cents per point. I don't necessarily believe in that. I know some people do, but I'm making it more objective for that. So, all right, let's see. How to book an American Airlines. So this is for Fernando. How to book an American Airlines flight with American Express points via British Airways is possible. So, Fernando, there's a couple ways you can actually do this, and this is what I would recommend you to do. So, British Airways is great for short-haul, non-stop flights. If you have a connection, you're going to be charged one segment plus one segment, which could be really high for you and a really bad value. What I would look to do is that you can book American Airlines that way, but if you're not getting a direct non-stop flight, look at Iberia. Iberia are still Avios, and you can actually move your British Airways Avios to your Iberia Avios account if you have them in there. And why that's important is because Iberia takes just your total distance. You could have a connection, and if it's still under their certain guidelines for their miles, I don't remember the miles. If it's under, I think it's like 1,100 miles round trip. It's like 11,000 miles round trip. Don't quote me on that. I can't remember off the top of my head right now. But by utilizing Iberia, you can you can do that. Another program to look at is Asia Miles. That could be useful. Does take a little bit more work to learn that program. It's a little bit tougher, but it's a good program. It can offer some good value for people. But your best bet for American Express points on American Airlines is going to be probably British Airways or Iberia. Both would be bad options going over through London transatlantic because of the high charges for you. So domestically, definitely look at those two there. So British Airways short haul, non-stops, Iberia for round trips that may have a stopover for total distance. Let's see. Okay, Sean says, my daughter's a month younger than your son. Her first flight is next month. Fingers crossed she does well as well. So my fingers crossed for you too as well, Sean. I don't have a lot of knowledge because this is his first flight, but what we did is we fed him beforehand and we put a pacifier in his mouth to help try to have him alleviate any pressure in his ears. And that seemed to help. He's been pretty easy going overall. But definitely by utilizing his pacifier, I felt was a great way for him to keep equalizing that pressure, because he was always just, I felt like it was like chewing gum for him, right? That helps pop his ears. So, and having a bottle ready just in case would be fantastic as well, because that's something we were prepared for if he were to be hungry at some point in time during his flight. Another tip for you. We actually brought a little pillow, because you can prop it up under your arm, so whenever you're holding the baby, holding your daughter, it would be very tiring for you. So we actually brought a small pillow, was able to put it on the armrest, and that definitely took a lot of pressure off your arm. So if you can bring a small pillow, or even maybe ask the flight attendants for a small pillow, that would do a world of help for you when you're flying. So definitely something we found out on this flight, and we'll definitely be doing in future flights with him as well. All right, there are 20 of you now. So any questions for other credit cards? Let's see. Anthony says, thanks, keep up the good work. Thanks, Anthony, for tuning in. I appreciate your support. Hey, Icarus, how are you doing? In your calculations, did you add the missed opportunity costs, giving it 2.5 to 5% would be cashback sacrifice? For which part, Icarus? For utilizing my altitude reserve? Is that what you're getting at here? Did I add the missed opportunity, giving up 2 to 5% for cashback to be sacrificed? I could have used a different card to book something, but I am working on a minimum spend, if that's what we're talking about here. So if I would look at it from a minimum spend perspective, I'm earning at a much higher rate than my normal day-to-day rate. But I guess if you were looking at it that from a point perspective, my 4.5% back for airfare. All spending needs to earn the points on that card instead of other spends. I don't take that into account, because of the fact, if you're looking, this is just me, if you look from a missed point opportunity for 2.5 to 5% when working on a sign-up bonus, my sign-up bonus is right now, 50,000 points after $4,500 spend. So in that short-term spend at $4,500, I typically spend $4,500 on the dot, maybe a couple dollars over in case we return something or something happens. The return rate is much higher on that first $4,500. Afterwards, absolutely, I would be calculating the opportunity cost of foregoing that. Just because bonuses, I think, skew, or they don't give the full value or the full view of it, because when you're working on a sign-up bonus, you're earning 15, 16, 17, 18 points per dollar, which really shifts the amount of rewards. But on a day-to-day, absolutely, I would be taking a look at that. All right. I don't think any other questions out there. I think I'm trying to think of anything else we've done here. I think we're going to Busch Gardens. I think I told you guys we're going to Busch Gardens tomorrow, and then going to do a couple of reservations here, looking at some of the wildlife and whatnot. It's really cool to see some of the swamps and whatnot here in the area. Definitely scares the crap out of me when I see. I think we saw like a 7 or 8 foot gator just floating along in the water today. So definitely scared. Like, to me, they're really cool. Very fascinated by them. Definitely, they freak me out, because those things are quite crazy. I think we'll be going on for almost 40 minutes here. I'm happy to answer some more questions if you have them. If not, I can call it a night. I like answering your questions and doing Q&A sessions here. But if there's no more questions, I can go ahead and call it a night. Let me make sure I didn't miss any questions, though. I understand. Oh, wait. Let's say I understand it's higher, but subtracting the lesser cashback reward from the greater 2.5% on 4.5 is over $100 missed. I don't disagree with Icarus on that. So Icarus is saying, subtracting the lesser cashback reward from the greater minimum spend, like earning, I could be earning 2.5% back on my $4,500 using my USA Limitless card, is over $100 missed on those rewards. And while I agree with you on that, Icarus, earning that bonus and getting that bonus to earn me, so my trip is $300, not $200. I don't know. I don't agree with that, just because of the fact my out-of-pocket cost was already $200. So in that realm, I didn't forego any extra rewards from that by not. My out-of-pocket cost was only $180. So that was my out-of-pocket cost. I could have earned different rewards to earn more rewards on those, but by earning on this here, my minimum spend requirement, it skews that. So I think we have I agree with you on what you're saying about if I had just 2.5%, but because it does skew it with, look at my hair, does skew it with a sign-up bonus. But on a day-to-day, yeah, I would agree with you, but my earning rate was just, my cost was less than $300, so I don't see it that way. Is it worth to get the Hilton Aspire card if I may not be able to use a $250 resort fee each year? Tien, I would say so. So the reason why I would say so on this, one, the 150,000 bonus points is worth, I would value about $900. So in year one, totally worth it. Diamond status, if you stay at Hilton Resorts or those hotels, Diamond status could get you those room upgrades, late checkout, early check-in, free breakfast, lounge access to certain hotels. You also get priority pass lounge access, the airline credit as well for $250. So even if you're not using that resort credit, you are definitely getting far better value out of the card. It's great if you can use it. I would definitely say it's worth it. You know, I plan to keep one for myself, and we stay at Hilton's maybe a couple times a year, but even for that airline credit and the priority pass lounge access, for me, it's worth it, even if I don't use that $250 resort credit. I know what you're saying, but $200 came out of your bank, but also $100 was not deposited in your bank, so the difference was $300. You know, I see what you're saying. I think the same could be said that when I hit my minimum, I'm not saying you came out behind. Yeah, I think we can. I can see what you're saying on that, Chris. I'm not coming out behind on this. It coming out less ahead. You know, I could have come out, if I wasn't working on minimum spend, I would have come out more ahead on that particular spend. I don't disagree with you on that. Let's see. Fernando, thanks for your answer. It really helped me a lot. Absolutely, Fernando. That's what I enjoy doing. I try to give you the answers that I can best do. So, but Icarus, to get back to your point as well, with my minimum spend, that's $750. So at the current time, I'm down if you want to look at it that way. But I think in the overall realm of it, it comes out as a positive for me. So I don't disagree with you any idea. I don't disagree with you what's on those. Any tips for traveling with a family, wife, and 2 kids? You know, this is our first trip as a family with a young son, so maybe I'm not the best person to answer that question for you, Tin. But some stuff that we figured out and what was helpful for us is that we knew kind of what his fussy time, and he's not really that fussy, but like what his fussy time hours would be. So why I could have saved myself a couple thousand miles flying later in the evenings would have been better for me. I know there was a higher risk of him being fussier at those times, and for a small amount more miles, I could get us here sooner. So for me, knowing what his schedule is like, or what your kid's schedule is like, it could go a long way. So if you know they nap during a certain time, take advantage of that. If you can fly at the time they're supposed to be napping, have them sleep on the plane with them as well. So reason why I chose this, I don't know if you heard or tuned in earlier, but the reason why we chose this hotel here, had free breakfast and free parking. Those benefits add up over time, over the course of a vacation, especially when you start adding, multiple people. If you have to go out to breakfast every single day for you, your wife, and 2 kids, that adds up to a lot of money. And sure, the breakfast here at the town, this hotel isn't some, Park Hyatt breakfast. But, it does the job for us. It gets us, we're ready to rock and roll. Get coffee, food, eggs, bacon, whatever you may want, ready to rock and roll. So there's savings in there by utilizing the lower to mid-level family level properties out there, as opposed to maybe saying, well, I want to stay at the Park Hyatt because that gives me the best cent per point value. Okay, Candy says, have you been on any amazing cruises? Looking forward to a cruise. Desperately trying to book a cruise with a great big room. We have 2 kids under 4 with us. I would really love your suggestions. So, Candy, we've only cruised, I think we've been on 1 cruise. My wife's been on a couple cruises. As far as rooms, when we were on our cruise, we were in the room only to sleep. There are so many activities to do on the boat that there really was not a need to have this super extravagant room. Now, if my mother-in-law cruises quite a bit, and I think she does the same thing, that they get a room and they're out and about. I mean, there's so many activities. As far as tips of booking a cruise, if you utilize portals, Expedia, the Orbitz, portals like that, some of them I think we were getting up to like 10% back for up to cruises at some point in time. So take a look at those, because that gives you rewards back on those purchases. As far as credit cards to help you offset those fees as well, the Barclay Arrival Plus card, the big bonus after is 70,000 miles, which is $700 after you spend $5,000 in the first 90 days. So that's $800 back for you. The Capital One Venture card, after you get the bonus, is worth $560 in cash back for your travels on cruises. So you can utilize those as well. Let's see. If you're over 5'4", can you apply for a secured card to relax the underwriting of increase sensitive banks? Planning to product change after it. Ketchy, I don't. If you're over 524, to me that would tell me your credit is good enough to have decent credit cards. So I'm not sure why you'd want to apply for a secured card at an increase sensitive bank. So if you're thinking of someone like the U.S. Bank, for example, they're increase sensitive. I would not apply for their Platinum card, which is more of a lower tier card. I would not be looking to apply for that lower end card just to try to get in with them and product change it later. Because if you're going to do it, you're going to forego the bonus on those cards. So if it's an increase sensitive bank, I would definitely take a look at that. And if there's a card that you're looking at, let me know. But I mean, like, U.S. Bank's pretty increase sensitive. I think I took a few months off from applying for cards at that time. And, I was approved after they reviewed my application. Whoops. All right, let's see. Have you tried Cruise Complete? I haven't. I've heard good things about that, Candy, though, about Cruise Complete. There are a few websites out there, the ones that even help you with repositioning, like cruise lines that are repositioning. You might actually do better with those as well. So I've never used it. I've heard good things about it. So, all right, I've alluded to a tip, hack, or trip you weren't sure you wanted to make public. Is it some sort of loophole you think maybe that could be closed or something? So, Icarus, anything that's on Reddit or some of these blogs, banks read, right? So, I can just say it. I guess I'll just say it right now. So, the tip I was alluding to is the modified double dip, and I'm sure you've read it because I feel like you're pretty up to speed on things. So the modified double dip with the Sapphire Preferred and the Sapphire Reserve, let me know in the comments if you've heard of that. If not, I can definitely go into details on it. And it's pretty well known. I see it all the time over on the Reddit forums as well as other forums. It's not talked about on the blogs, but you have to be crazy to think that Chase and other banks don't read Reddit and other forums. So if people are talking about it, they definitely know about the modified double dip. I didn't do it. I've been trying to think about if I should do it next. You've not heard of it, but I don't do Chase Sapphire. So what I can tell you what it is, the Chase modified double dip, and I don't know if most people probably aren't going to watch 50 minutes in this anyway. So the way it is, so technically you can't get the Sapphire Preferred in the Reserve anymore. That's technically what it is. But there's this loophole right now where if you were to apply for one on one day, and the next day you apply for the next one, it's important to get an instant approval, and the very next business day apply for it. So I wouldn't try this on like a Friday afternoon if you're doing that. One right after the one right after the other. So and people are getting the bonuses for both of them. But the key is you need that instant approval, and then the next day go for the next card. And if you don't get an instant approval, you need to call right away to talk to somebody for a reconsideration. It's a loophole right now. I'm sure it'll get closed at some point in time because of the way that Chase is going. you know, people are, if Chase catches on, you know, could they close your accounts? Maybe. But people are risking it and doing it. You know, you're playing by the rules. If there's loopholes to be playing for, that's sometimes how we get the best deals. So that's the Chase modified double dip. You know, that was the loophole I was alluding to in my post. So yeah, if you're 2024, you're not going to get it either way. So all right, let's see if there's any other questions. Thank you, Candy. I appreciate you supporting the channel and coming out to watch them. I do appreciate that. All right, Ketchy says, does the eBay credit card increase multiplier on MR earning Ebates account? So if you sign up for the membership reward side, Ketchy, then you would be earning essentially 3 points per dollar on the Ebates card. Basically would be membership reward points. I don't think that is necessarily a great credit card to open though, because you can earn other credit card, like if you have the Blue Business Plus, for example, that's double points. It even comes with you can get it with a bonus as well. The Ebates credit card gets you that extra percentage only on Ebates purchases. So unless you are shopping a lot on Ebates, I just don't see it. But yes, I don't think it's a good I don't think it's necessarily worth opening. But if you open the Ebates card and have that card linked to your membership rewards account, then yes, absolutely, that would do that for you. Let's see. You have the Ebates card. It is from Synchrony Bank. Icarus, you're right. It is from Synchrony, so it's easier. I mean, it's not one of the big banks, so you could potentially get it. I think from Synchrony Bank, the card I would be really interested in is the Cathay Pacific card, because it's not a big bank. It has a big bonus, and if you can learn to use Asia Miles, you can get some really good value from them. Icarus killing the game, huh? Well, you know, Candy, I think if I kind of go by the idea, if it's on the big forums and Reddit, you know, it's probably pretty much public knowledge, but nobody else has really given a specific video for it, or specific article I've seen talking about that method. You know, and once it dies, someone will then write about what it was. You know, I think if you can do it, great. By all means, if I was under 524, I would totally take advantage of it myself, and I would totally go for it. I use it for eBay and Walmart.com. That's not bad at all, Chris, if you can do that. You know, for Walmart.com, you can do pretty well. eBay, you know, as well, pretty awesome if you want to utilize it for that. Catchy asks, does the U.S. Bank Altitude Reserve code Square Cash Debit Visa as mobile payment? Planning to double dip with Whole Foods 10% boost. Does it code the Square Cash Visa? I honestly don't know that one, Catchy, if it does that. Icarus, let me answer Catchy's first. If the Square Cash Visa debit card codes as mobile payment, I'm going to probably go with no, because they're pretty specific in the fact that in order for it to code as mobile payments, it has to be like Samsung Pay, which I'm a big fan of Samsung Pay, and I actually had to return that Samsung phone I had because it didn't work on Google Fi for me. But I'm actually strongly considering leaving Google Fi for it, because Samsung Pay is the best of the mobile wallets because of the MST technology, which was Loop Pay before Samsung bought them. Best out there, way better than Apple Pay, which, by the way, the Apple card is complete garbage. None of you should get that card, or even Google Pay. But I'm going to probably go with no on if it codes as that. I know a couple of great loopholes, not sure to tell because, you know, they'll plug them. I would agree with you, Chris. If you leak something to a blogger or even potentially YouTuber, you have the potential that it'll get leaked for views and clicks. You know, I've had people tell me stuff. I don't share it if they tell me not to share it. So if you want to share it, Chris, by all means, you can shoot me an email, man. I'm happy to listen to them. Leak it. No, if there's certain stuff that shouldn't be, you know, if you have a good loophole for yourself, either through liquidation or whatever, keep that to yourself. The first time you put that on the Reddit forum, someone will take that and kill that for you. So definitely keep that to yourself. You may share. By all means, I'm happy to hear them, just because I'm always looking to learn as well. You know, I don't have all the answers. You know, I think David from Wiseflies said it really best, that when he did his roundup the other day, like, you know, you'll get questions from me, and I'll give you a spin on something on what my opinion is, or even answer your questions in a certain way, and you'll get a different answer from somebody else. So it's definitely worth watching a couple of the channels. David from Wise Flies, great channel. Definitely worth taking a look at his channel. Brian Jung, I've watched his stuff as well. He's pretty awesome. He's got a great humor in his videos. Something I should probably try to, he's got great censor in them. I think if you link the altitude reserve, it then registers as debit and registers as squares. I don't know how that would actually work, Catchy. I don't think if you're it's definitely much saying that it has to be used through a mobile payment, and I don't think your Square debit card will calculate that, even if you're loading it that way. Definitely worth trying though. It might calculate. It might catch you. You might find a loophole in there for yourself. We've seen a lot of loopholes with like the Chase Ink Preferred. And I think I was reading someone leaked that it was earning triple points on Girl Scout cookies. So, that you can't really scale that unless you're someone who's buying like hundreds and hundreds of dollars of Girl Scout cookies. But someone, I guess, leaked that over in the Reddit forum, and people were pretty upset about that. So, if you like Girl Scout cookies, use your Chase Ink Preferred. You'll earn triple points on that. I think some other things I saw today. I think the JetBlue Mint also devalued their points there. So if you're someone who's using your points on JetBlue, you might want to take a look at it. It's probably not, from what I was reading on, I haven't really taken a whole lot of look on things just while we're out on on this vacation. It looks like it's no longer really I think a really great option for a lot of JetBlue flights themselves, and that's revenue based. So you can link a credit card to Square debit for a 3% fee. Catchy, unless you're really earning over 3, so if you're linking a credit card to Square debit for 3%, with the altitude reserve, you'd be coming out at 1.5% ahead. But you're overall only on airfare though, not for all your travels. I mean, that's only going to be used for airfare. So you definitely want to, if you're looking to do that, definitely do a small test transaction for that. But my gut says that's not going to work for you. Let's see. I don't think. All right, I think that we're sitting at about almost an hour now. So let's see. I'll give it a couple more minutes. So if there's any last questions, let me know. I'm going to call it good here in a couple of minutes. Because we have a full day tomorrow too, so I'm going to get some sleep here in a few minutes. Plus Whole Foods 10% discount from Amazon Prime discount. Yeah, that being able to do that. If you can stack that, Catchy, that is a great loophole for you. I would still definitely do a test transaction. If you have to eat a 3% fee for that, definitely for a $2 transaction, it's worth testing it. But if you can test it and work it, you have yourself a great system there. My gut just says it's not going to work for you. But on that note, if there's any other questions, I'll take them now. If not, tomorrow comes out the last part of my around the world itineraries using your points and miles, looking at the Sky Team Alliance. I think I alluded to that in other videos. After that, I have some new stuff I'm working on. And some changes coming to the channel probably in the next month. So keep on the lookout for that as well. So I'm excited for some changes coming, and I hope you all are as well. So on that note, I want to thank you all for tuning in to this YouTube Live. I appreciate it. Well, let's see. One last question. All right, let's see. What are all of my 5+% cards? Oh, man, I'm trying to think. 5+%. I have myself. We have the Chase Freedom, Discover It, U.S. Bank Cash Plus. The City Dividend card, I think, is underrated for people. As that, I definitely would be trying to get one of those if someone had it. Or if someone has a City card they're looking to get rid of. I think that card is totally worth it. The new Senda card is on my list. I just haven't gotten around to getting that card yet because of the fact of its lack of sign-up bonus. That one's on there as well. But I think I have a good chunk of them, and they really do match. So we have a couple U.S. Bank, couple cashback U.S. Bank Cash Plus credit cards really maximize that 5% picking of categories. As well as a couple of Chase Freedom and a couple Discover It cards. So, we maximize those as much as we can. They're fantastic cards for us. And and I am a big fan of those cards for people to get. Vantage West, I have seen Vantage West as well. I actually seen, was it the Maryland Terps card as well? It has a pretty big bonus as well. Not great day-to-day earnings, but the bonus on it is huge as well. So on that note, I will catch all of you tomorrow on tomorrow's video, and I will probably do a live here in the next couple of weeks. Well, probably do a live in the next week or so. I know I'm doing my live ward booking as well. So I did ask for some examples. I have my examples for those. I'll start looking at those in the next couple days, and I'll schedule an event for that. So thank you all for tuning in. I really appreciate it. If you like learning about credit cards, points, miles, or cash back, feel free. Please subscribe to the channel. I do appreciate your support, and I will catch you all later.